right, everybody. So we start chapter 1 tomorrow, and chapter 1 is our first chapter that deals with the S part of statistics, or I'm sorry, the F part of FST, which is statistics. So we got to get a little bit of vocabulary out of the way. Some of you may be taking or have taken Intro to Psych or AP Psych, or even in some of your science classes. You may have seen some of these terms before, so you'll see how they relate with what we study in FST. So one word I need you to be familiar with is population. And I always say that the group of people, it doesn't always have to be people, things that you wish to study or gather data from. Okay. So if you were doing, some sort of experiment and you were gathering data on, teenage boys that live in the United States, you may not survey every teenage boy that lives in the United States, but that would be the group of people that you're looking to study. All right, so that would be your population. Your sample, it's a subset or a subgroup. It's a subgroup of the population consisting of the people you actually surveyed, gathered data from, etc. Okay, emphasis on the word actually. So here's the thing. If you're looking to study all United States citizens, well, that's really hard to maybe gather data from every citizen. So you may not, and you probably don't, survey the entire population, the entire group of people that you wish to study. You have to instead hopefully pick a representative sample. Some samples are representative, meaning they're not biased, they're made up of lots of different types of people. Other samples, are. And again, if you've taken AP Psych or maybe some of your other science classes, you've probably gotten into that. Okay, so the data that you actually gather, and you can gather lots of different types of data from your sample, that helps us determine what are the variables at play here. So we can actually have two different types of variables. We can have a categorical variable and a numerical variable, and they pretty much define themselves. This is going to be information that consists of categories. Okay, so, another way to describe that would be a qualitative information. So this could be stuff like somebody's eye color. All right, green, blue, hazel. That's a category. Somebody's hair color. The car they drive. You get the idea. All right, so stuff, basically it's probably categorical if it's not numerical. Okay, so numerical information, or numerical variables, well, again, kind of describes itself. Information that is numerical. I know I'm using the word to define the word. So, aka consists of numbers. Okay, so examples, this could be your salary, or your height, or how how many times you go on vacation. Again, the list is endless, okay, of the numerical information that we could gather. So one thing I'll have you do in a little bit is not only identify a scenario's population and sample, but also talk about the variables at play. So, there are times, not very often, but there are times where the population you're studying is the same as your sample. And when that happens, and it's very rare, because that's very expensive to make sure that you've surveyed every single person in your population, whatever that population might be, that means you have a census. Now, that is easier to do if you have a smaller population, but if your population is the entire United States, that's really, really hard to do. Although the United States government, we know, does that every 10 years, and they call it a census. So that'll be a way to help you remember that. All right, so we got a couple scenarios here. It says, suppose that I grade the Chapter 1 test and I record everyone's percentages. So, you know, the group of people that I'm looking to sort of maybe make a generalization about or to study would be my students. So, Mrs. Bebout's, in fact, well, students. I presume this is probably FST students, but that's my population. And the key thing here is I record everyone's score. So that is actually also my sample. So because my population wasn't very big, it was a manageable population in terms of its size, I was able to gather information from everybody. So my sample and my population matched. Now in terms of the variable, we only have one, and that would be the percentage grades and that's a numerical variable. If I recorded your letter grades, that would probably be more of a categorical variable. Okay, so number 2. Suppose that Connor surveys some QV students about how much they like the new iPhone 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. So, let's see, Connor's population is QV students. Doesn't appear, since his sample doesn't include other students, I would say his population is just QV students. The sample would be some QV students. That's all the information we have. I'll just say those surveyed, the ones that he chose to survey. Now, we don't know if he did a good job picking a representative sample or a bad job. We don't know that, but we do know that that's our sample. And the variable would be how much they like, I don't know how a good way to phrase this, their opinion of the iPhone 7. That's, since we're ranking it on a scale of 1 to 10, I would say that's a numerical variable. If he had asked them to say that they liked it, didn't like it, or were neutral, that would be more of a categorical variable. Okay, so we'll work with these words in the upcoming days, but I think we got a good start, and that's all.